Hello and welcome to Interconnecting with Virtual Private Cloud VPC, another Apsara Clouder course brought to you by Alibaba Cloud Academy. After completing this course, you will be able to describe various ways of interconnecting VPC, describe Express Connect and how it works, deploy VPC to VPC connection using Express Connect, deploy VPC to IDC connection using Express Connect, describe VPN gateway and how it works, deploy VPC to VPC connection using VPN gateway, deploy VPC to IDC connection using VPN gateway. This is the course agenda. Internetworking with VPC. What is Express Connect and how it works? Connect VPC to VPC using Express Connect. Connect VPC to IDC using Express Connect. VPN gateway and how it works. Connect VPC to VPC using VPN gateway. Connect VPC to IDC using VPN gateway. The first topic is Internetworking with VPC. We will look at various options of interconnecting a VPC. Internetworking with Virtual Private Cloud VPC. In this course, we will discuss ways to connect to another VPC or a local network. When cloud resources in a Virtual Private Cloud VPC needs to communicate with resources in another VPC or an on-premise Internet Data Center IDCs, you can build secure and reliable private network connection to expand the network topology and build a hybrid cloud. In Alibaba Cloud, you could use VPN gateway, Express Connect or Cloud Enterprise Network (CEN) to build secure and reliable private network connection. In this course, we will be looking at connecting VPC using Express Connect and VPN gateway only. Connect to another VPC or a local network. When cloud resources in a VPC needs to communicate with resources in another VPC or an on-premise IDC, you can use VPN gateway or Express Connect to build secure and reliable private network connection. You can also use both products to expand the network topology and build a hybrid cloud. For multinational companies, Express Connect ensures low latency in cross-border traffic, and VPN gateway connects the local sites and endpoints into the global network. This lesson we will cover what is Express Connect and how it works. Express Connect is a product for organizations to connect their private networks in high speed, security, and stability. Through Express Connect, an organization can achieve on-premise IDC connection with VPC offered by Alibaba Cloud. Express Connect also offers the ability to connect across region VPCs. Based on the Layer 3 overlay technology, and switch virtualization technology under the Software-Defined Network (SDN) architecture. Alibaba Cloud isolates the ports of the physical list line of a customer and extract the ports into Virtual Border Router (VBR). Using mainstream tunneling technology, Alibaba Cloud encapsulates the packets of the customer in vSwitches and then use the tunneling technology to further encapsulate the packets and transmit them to the VPC. A router interface is a virtual device with the ability to set up a communication channel and control its working status. Express Connect built an intranet communication channel between two VPCs by creating two router interfaces individually for the vRouter of the VPCs. The vRouter can send messages to each other through the channel after the connection between the two router interfaces is established. Therefore, the resource in the two VPCs, such as ECS instances, can communicate over the intranet. Initiator and receiver. When two router interfaces are interconnecting, one plays the role of the connection initiator and the other plays the role of the connection receiver. Only the initiator router interface can initiate a connection. The receiver router interface must wait for the initiator to start a connection. The initiator and receiver are only used to control the process of establishing connections. In the actual network communication, the communication link is bidirectional and there is no difference between the initiator and receiver. For the VPC interconnection of a same account, Express Connect provides an option to create two router interfaces at the same time. In this situation, you do not need to manually initiate the connection. The system automatically initiates and establishes the connection. For the VPC interconnection of different accounts, you have to manually initiate a connection between the initiator router interface and the receiver router interface. The following table compares the initiator and the receiver. The following table compares the initiators and the receivers. For the VPC interconnection of different accounts, you have to manually initiate a connection between the initiator router interface and the receiver router interface. For the VPC interconnection of the same account, Express Connect provides an option to create the two router interface at the same time. In this situation, you do not need to manually initiate the connection. The system automatically initiates and establishes the connection. Connection process. The router interface connection process is as follows. An initiator router interface initiates a connection. The receiver router interface accepts the connection. Establish the connection. Router interface specification. Express Connect provides three kinds of interface specifications. Small, 10 megabit per second to 50 megabit per second. Middle, 100 megabit per second to 900 megabit per second. And large, 1 gigabit per second to 4.5 gigabit per second. The available router interface specifications are different in different connection scenarios and regions. Select an appropriate specification according to your configuration on the purchase page. The router interface specification used for the same region VPC interconnection is set to large 2 gigabit per second by default. Let's walk through how you create a router interface. First, log on to the Express Connect console. Second, in the left side navigation pane, select VPC connection, router interface. Third, in the upper right corner of the router interface page, click Create Router Interface. Finally, configure the router interface accordingly to the following information and complete the payment. Fourth and the final steps, configure the router interface accordingly to the requirements and complete the payment. This lesson is Connect VPC to VPC using Express Connect. We will look at how to set up a secure, reliable, convenient, and fast communication between the two VPCs. Intranet communication between two VPCs. Express Connect support intranet communication between two VPCs in the same region or different region and under the same account or different accounts. Alibaba Cloud create a route interface on the vRouter of each VPC. It then uses the two interfaces and its own backbone transmission network to build Express Connect, easily realizing secure, reliable, convenient, and fast communication between the two VPCs. Let's walk through how you connect two VPC using Express Connect. First, log on to the Express Connect console. Second, in the left side navigation pane, select VPC connection, router interface. Third, in the upper right corner of the router interface page, click Create Router Interface. Configure the router interface according to the following information and complete the payment. Fourth step, configure the router interface by selecting the scenario for the router interface, VPC Connect, which means connect to VPCs. Fifth step, configure the router interface by selecting the router creation type. For VPC interconnection or physical access under the same account, select Create Initiator and Receiver. For VPC connection of physical access under different accounts, select Create Initiator or Create Receiver as needed. 6 steps. Configure the router interface by selecting Local Region, Local VPC ID, Peer Region, and Peer VPC ID. Take note that in the scenario of Create Initiator and Receiver, the local VPC is the connection initiator end. Peer region, select the region where the peer VPC is located. Peer VPC ID, select the ID of the peer VPC. Next, in this demo, we will be using Express Connect to create router interfaces on Singapore VPC 02 connecting Zone A, subnet 192.168.1.0/24 and Singapore VPC 01 connecting Zone B, subnet 10.1.1.0/16. We also configure a route for the vRouter. Take note the fees of connecting VPC of same region on the same account is free. In this demo, we will look at how we connect these two VPC together. First, let's do a simple ping test. The ping will not go through. Next, let's go to Express Connect. Create a router interface. Select the router interface setting. We will need an initiator and a receiver. Select the region. So you have to select the right VPC in the region. Select the destination VPC region. Select the VPC of the destination region. And finally, click the buy button to purchase. Accept the agreement and click the pay button. Once purchase successful, you can go back to the router interface. You will notice two router interfaces created. One of them is initiator, the other one is receiver. And make sure the status is active for both initiator and receiver. Ping test again. Now the ping test will not go through. Why? Because the route is not being added yet. So next we will need to add the routing information. Let's select the route interface. And go to the routing table to add a new route entry. The new route entry, you will need the destination subnet information. So get the destination subnet information, destination VPC subnet information, key in the subnet information. And then you can select VPC, route interface via VPC, and then followed by selecting the VPC. Click OK. Now the route entry is being added in one of the interface. Now you need to do similar for the remote interface. So you need to go through the remote region, which is KL in our case. And same thing at the remote, which is local. So you add the remote subnet information. Select the route interface using VPC. And then select the remote VPC. Click OK button. The route entry will be added. Now you are ready to test again. So you can go to the Windows machine to do a simple ping test. The ping should go through now. This is how you connect two VPC using Express Connect. That's it for the demo. Thank you. The next lesson is connect VPC to IDC using Express Connect. We will look at how the cloud resources can access your on-premises network bypassing the internet over a private network connection. What is a physical connection? A physical connection is the abstract of the network circuits established between an Alibaba Cloud access point and your on-premise data center. To establish a physical connection, you have to apply for a lease line. A lease line is a cable rented from a network carrier that connects your on-premise network to Alibaba Cloud access point. With this lease line in place, you can create a virtual border router VBR to connect your on-premise IDC to Alibaba Cloud to build a hybrid cloud environment. Therefore, the cloud resources can access your on-premise network bypassing the internet over a private network connection. The physical connection does not go through the internet. It is more secure, reliable, and fast, with lower latencies than typical internet connections. What is Virtual Border Router? Virtual Border Router VBR is the mapping of your lease line in VPC. It can be regarded as vRouter between customer premise equipment CPE and VPC, and acts as the forwarding bridge between an on-premise IDC and a VPC. VBR includes a route table. You can manage traffic forwarding in VBR through configuring route entries in VBR. VBR provides the following function: exchange data packets, as the intermediate V router between VPC and the on-premise IDC. Decide the interface mode of the lease line, Layer 3 router interface mode or VLAN-based Layer 3 sub-interface mode. Recognize or attach VLAN tags in Layer 3 sub-interface mode. Virtual Border Router VBR support BGP, Border Gateway Protocol, Dynamic Routing. Border Gateway Protocol BGP, a dynamic routing protocol based on TCP protocol, is designed to exchange routing and reachability information among autonomous system AS. During the construction of lease line access, you can use BGP to access intranet connection between an on-premise IDC and a VBR. Redundant lease line access. You can use redundant lease lines to connect your data center to your VPC. Redundant physical connection provides intranet communication featuring high quality and high reliability. Alibaba Cloud supports up to 4 lease lines to achieve Equal Cost Multipath (ECMP). Redundant lease line access. You can use redundant lease line to connect to local data center to your VPC. Dedicated lease line connection partners as shown, China partners as well as global partners. So as you can see, we have more than 10 China partners as well as more than 10 global partners for lease line services. Let's walk through how you connect VPC to IDC using Express Connect. First, log on to Express Connect console. Second, in the left side navigation pane, select Physical Connection, then select Virtual Border Router. Third, in the upper right corner, click Create VBR. Fourth step, configure the VBR object, name and description. For object, if you want to create VBR for lease line under another account, select Other Account. If you want to create VBR for lease line under this account, select this account. Name, enter the name of the VBR. Description, enter a meaningful description of the VBR. Fifth steps, configure the VBR more information. Lease line, VLAN ID and circuit mode. Lease line, select the lease line to be connected to the VBR. VLAN ID, enter the VLAN ID of the VBR in the range of 0 to 2999. When creating router interface, the company uses VLAN IDs to identify the subsidiary or subdivision to use the lease line. Circuit code. The carrier that builds the lease line for you will provide a circuit code for your lease line. Enter the circuit code to facilitate maintenance. Configure the IP address of the Alibaba Cloud site customer site subnet mask and click Confirmation Creation. Customer site, enter the IP address used at the gateway to connect to VPC. Subnet mask, the subnet mask of the Alibaba's cloud site IP address and the customer site IP addresses. Number 7 step and the final step, configure the VBR to static routing for communication with a VPC. You need to perform this operation twice. Add one route entry directing to the VPC and another one route entry directing to the on-premise IDC, so that the on-premise IDC can communicate with the VPC through the VBR. From Express Connect console, in the left-hand side navigation pane, select Virtual Border Router. Select the target VBR in the VBR list, click Manage. In the page of VBR details, click Add Route Entry. Destination CIDR block. The CIDR block cannot include any public IP addresses. Next hop direction. To forward data to VPC, select to VPC. To forward data to IDC, select List Line. Next hop. To forward data to VPC, select Data Exit on the VBR, namely a router interface of the VBR. Finally, verify the VBR. Check the VBR status is normal. And then ping the private IP address to check whether the connection is established. You can do this by logging to ECS on VPC subnet to do a simple ping connectivity check to another ECS on IDC subnet. The ping statistic should show 0% packet loss. The next lesson will be VPN gateway and how it works. Virtual Private Network VPN gateway is an Alibaba cloud service that provisions traditional internet infrastructure to connect a local data center or a remote client to a VPC through an encrypted tunnel. Alibaba Cloud supports both IPsec VPN and SSL VPN tunneling model using VPN gateway. Alibaba Cloud supports Internet Protocol Security IPsec VPN connections. IPsec VPN. VPN gateway can create IPsec connection over an IPsec VPN tunnel. You can create an IPsec connection to connect a VPC to a local data center or to connect two VPCs. IPsec connection support IKE version 1 and IKE version 2 protocol, and any device that supports these two protocols can connect to Alibaba Cloud VPN gateway. Devices supporting both protocols include those from Huawei, H3C, Cisco, ASN, Juniper, SonicWall, Nokia, IBM, and Ixia. Multi-site connections. You can create multiple IPsec connections to connect multiple sites. To a VPC. With the VPN hub function provided by VPN gateway, each site not only communicates with the VPC but can also communicate with each other. VPN hub meets the needs of large enterprises to establish an intranet communication between various sites. The next lesson is connect VPC to VPC using VPN gateway, securely through an encrypted tunnel. VPC to VPC connection using IPsec. IPsec VPN. VPN gateway can create IPsec connection over an IPsec VPN tunnel. You can create an IPsec connection to connect a VPC to another VPC. VPC to VPC connection. Let's walk through the process of creating two VPCs using VPN gateway. Basically, there is five steps. Step 1, create VPN gateways. So you need to create VPN gateways at local VPN site as well as remote VPN site. Step 2, create customer gateway. Customer gateway for both local site and remote site as well. Step 3, create IPsec connections. So you need to, same thing, you need to create IPsec connection for both site, local site and remote site. So which means you have to repeat step 1, 2 and 3 for remote VPC. That's a reminder. Step 5, configure routing for both directions. Okay, so step 5 is very important, and most of the engineers actually forget to configure step 5, the routing. Configure a VPC to VPC connection using VPN gateway. Step 1. Let's walk through how you connect to VPC using VPN gateway. First, log on to the VPC console. Second, in the left side navigation pane, click VPN, select VPN gateways. Third, on the VPN gateway page, click Create VPN Gateway. The fourth step, configure the VPN gateway region, set the name, select VPC, bandwidth, specification, and tunnel mode supported. Region, for example, select Singapore. Note, make sure that the region of the VPC to be connected and the region for the VPN gateway are the same. Name, give a meaningful name, for example, SG-VPC2-KL-VPC1. For example, you are setting up a VPN gateway in Singapore, VPC2 to connect to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, KL, VPC1. So you might want to use SG-VPC2-KL-VPC1 or any other naming convention at your convenience. VPC, select the VPC to be connected. Bandwidth specification, select a bandwidth of the VPN tunnel. For VPC to VPC, we will be using IPsec. So IPsec VPN, select Enable. SSL VPN, select Disable. We are not using SSL VPN here. Configure the VPN gateway tunnel mode supported. Remember, for VPC to VPC, we will be using IPsec. So remember, IPsec VPN, select Enable. And we are not using SSL VPN, so select Disable for SSL VPN. Step number 2, create VPN customer gateway. Log on to VPC console. In the left-hand side navigation pane, click VPN, select Customer Gateways. Click the region and then click Create Customer Gateway. Now, the name, enter a customer gateway name, address, IP address, enter the public IP address of the VPN gateway. So, remember, enter the name, enter a customer gateway name, the IP address, enter the public IP address of the VPN gateway. When you create the VPN gateway, you will have a public facing IP address. So, which means you need to put in your public IP address of your VPN gateway here. Okay, so now this VPN, this IP address should be the remote VPN gateway IP address. Now remember, take note, enter public IP address of the remote VPN gateway here. Step 3, VPN IPsec connection. Log on to the VPC console. In the left side navigation pane, click VPN, select IPsec connections. Click the region and then click Create IPsec connections. Configure the VPN gateway, region, set the name, select VPC, bandwidth specification, and tunnel mode supported. Name. Enter a name of the IPsec connection. Give it a meaningful name. Select for VPN gateway, use the pull-down menu to select the VPN gateway. Same thing for the customer gateway, use the pull-down menu to select the customer gateway. Now the customer gateway will be the customer gateway of the remote VPN. Local network. Now local network, you will enter the local VPC network and the subnet mask. So you enter the network/subnet mask here. For remote network, enter the remote VPC network that you are connecting, network number followed by net mask of the remote VPC network. So step 4 is a reminder for you that step 1, 2, and 3, you need to repeat for the opposite VPC or opposite site. So for example, you need to configure the VPN gateway at the remote site, as well as you need to create the customer VPN at the remote site as well. And finally, you also need to create the IPsec connection at the remote site. Finally, and the most important is routing table update. A lot of engineers always forgot the last step. Log on to the VPC console. In the left side navigation panel, click Route Tables. Click the region, find the route table of the connected VPC and click Add Route Entry. Configure the route entry and then click OK. In the destination CIDR block, enter the IP address range of the peer VPC. So here you will enter the IP address range of your remote VPC. Next hop tab, select VPN gateway. From the pull-down menu, select VPN gateway. VPN gateway, select the created VPN gateway. Take note, you need to repeat the same step for the remote site. So the remote site, you need to configure the routing table entry as well. Verify the connection. Check the VPN gateway status are normal, and then ping the private IP address to check whether the connection is established. How to do the check? Log into ECS on local VPC subnet to do a simple ping connectivity check to another ECS on remote VPC subnet. The ping statistic should show 0% packet loss. Next, we will have a video demo of how you connect to VPC using VPN gateway. So in the demo, we will be using VPN gateway to create VPN gateway on Singapore VPC01 connecting Zone B, subnet 192.168.1.0/24, connecting to Malaysia KL Kuala Lumpur VPC1, connecting Zone A subnet 172.16.1.0/24. We will also configure a route for the vRouter as well. So do enjoy the demo. Next, we are looking at how we connect the Win server to remote server, Win server in Singapore to remote server in Malaysia KL. Okay, this server. which is 172.16.1.0. Okay, so first let's do a simple test. So this is the Windows PC. Let's ping, and it is not connected. We go to VPN, we log into the VPC. What we first need to go to is the VPN gateway. Click create VPN gateway. So we'll create VPN for Singapore. SG VPN 01, and we'll select the VPC. So in our case it will be VPC 1, so we'll select VPC 1, and the speed we will keep it at 10 meg, and the IPsec we will use enable IPsec. Okay, we are not using SSL, so you'll be disabled. So if everything fine, we'll just use the VPN gateway, click the buy button, and this is how we create the VPN gateway. Okay, we create a VPN gateway, we have to agree on and services, activate, and purchase complete. So once the VPN gateway is created, you can refresh, it will be created. Okay, so we will need to do the same for Malaysia, KL, VPC as well. So you need to check the status to be ready. Important thing is we enable IPsec. IPsec need to be enabled. Okay, so we'll do something similar for Malaysia. So we go to Malaysia, and same thing, we create VPN for Malaysia. Okay, select Malaysia. So this one we can put KL VPN 01. Okay, and then select the VPC. In KL there's only one PVC, so we just select the VPC to be connected. The speed, important thing, IPsec need to be enabled. SSL we are not using, so you'll be disabled. Same thing, everything fine, we will click the buy button, and it will be deployed, accept the term and condition, and it will be activated. And then we can refresh, it will be created, preparing. Okay, let's go back to the Singapore. You should be ready now. Singapore VPC, Singapore VPN. Okay, as you can see, once ready, you will see a normal, then you'll be ready. So next, what we can do now is to create the custom gateway. Okay, so we click the custom gateway to create the custom gateway. Same thing, create the custom gateway. Now the custom gateway, we will need to create custom gateway, customer gateway, which is remote, so it's a G to KL IPsec. You put the custom gateway IP address. So for this, you will need the public IP address. Get the public IP address. So this will be my public IP address. What I'll do is I will copy. So I'll do the same thing for Malaysia VPN as well. So once you got these two information, you can go back to Singapore, and then we can configure the customer gateway. Okay, let's try again. Customer gateway, we will create a customer gateway, SG to KL, and what will be the IP address? The IP address will be, you need to put the Malaysia IP address, which is give it a meaningful name, click OK. This is how you create a custom gateway. You have to do same thing for Malaysia gateway as well. So you go to Malaysia gateway, okay, create custom gateway. So in this case, you will need to put Singapore public IP in. Okay, so this will be KL to SG, and the IP address will be 47.4. Okay. Okay, so once everything okay, you click OK button. So now you have created VPN gateway, you have created custom gateway. Now let's go back to Singapore side again. Next thing is you create an IPsec connection. Click the IPsec connection, click create IPsec connection. Okay, so you will need to give this IPsec name. So same thing, you can put a connection. Okay. Okay, IPsec connection. Okay, and then the gateway easy. Now you can use the pull down menu. You can select the Singapore VPN gateway. Customer gateway, you can select the KL IPsec. And next is define the network, local network. Okay, so we need to put in the local network. Okay, and the remote network is 24. Okay. The local network and the remote network. Make it effect immediately. And the advanced communication, you can put in the preset key. For example, you can set the preset key to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so the preset key we will put it here. This is just an example. Okay, so once everything is okay, the rest you can leave it as default and you click OK. You will be negotiating. So the status will be red as for now. Okay, now let's go back to KL. Okay, IPsec KL. Okay, and the VPN gateway will be KL. Select the KL. Custom gateway will be KL IPsec that you created previously. Now the local network will be this. This will be your local network. 172.16.1.0/24/0/16. Okay, so here this will be the local, and this will be the remote network. Okay, this will be this. Local will be this. Okay, will be the local network. Reverse. Okay, effect immediately set to yes. Advanced configuration, we will just set the preset key. No mistake. Okay, the rest we just leave it as default. Okay, we click OK. You can refresh, and you will see that the negotiation success. So let's go back to Singapore. It will be the same. The negotiation will turn to success as well. Okay, so we will need to go back to the route table. Okay, VPC Singapore route table. So in the route table, we are VPC1. Is VPC1. So we will edit the route table for VPC1. The remote network for KL. Okay, so we need to add a new route entry for remote network. So what is the route network that we need to add? We need to add this network in. Okay, we will need to add this network in for Okay, and the next hop we will just select which one? VP. We will select VPN gateway for the next hop. Okay, and then once you select VPN network gateway, you can select the VPN gateway that for our local site. Once everything okay, click OK. So we need to do the same thing for the KL. Okay, so we need to do the same thing for KL. So we will need to go to Malaysia to add the route at both sides. Okay, so for KL there's only one, so KL is VPC 1. Okay, so VPC 1. So we'll just click to add the route table. Okay, so we click to add the route table entry. Table entry we'll need to add in Singapore. And the next hop is select VPN gateway and select the VPN gateway. Okay, so once the routing has been created, you can test the connectivity. So let's go back to test the connectivity, and now it should work. Bingo. So let's conclude the demo for your final lesson is connect VPC to IDC using VPN gateway. VPC to IDC using IPsec. VPN gateway can create IPsec connections over an IPsec VPN tunnel. You can create an IPsec connection to connect a VPC to a local data center. Configure a VPC to IDC connection. Steps to connect VPC to IDC using VPN gateways as follows. Step 1. Create VPN gateways. Step 2. Create customer gateways. Step 3. Create IPsec connection. Step 4. Configure the local gateway. Step 5. Configure routing for both directions. All the steps are similar as compared to VPC to VPC. The difference is step 4 before routing entry, where we need to configure the local gateway. Let's take a look at step 1, VPN gateway. Configure a VPC to IDC connection. Let's walk through how you connect VPC to IDC using VPN gateway. First, log on to VPC console. Second, in the left side navigation pane, click VPN gateways. Third, on the VPN gateway page, click Create VPN gateway. Fourth step, configure the VPN gateway region, set the name, select VPC, bandwidth, specification, and tunnel mode supported. Region, for example, select Singapore. Note, make sure the region of the VPC to be connected and the region of the VPN gateway are the same. Name, give it a meaningful name, for example, SGVPC2 to KLVPC1. VPC, select the VPC to be connected. Bandwidth specification, select a bandwidth of the VPN tunnel. For VPC to IDC, we will be using IPsec, so IPsec VPN, select Enable. SSL VPN, select Disable. VPN gateway. Configure the VPN gateway region, set the name, select VPC, bandwidth, specification, and tunnel mode supported. For VPC to IDC, we will be using IPsec, so IPsec VPN, select Enable. Step 2. Customer gateway. VPN customer gateways. Log on to VPC console. In the left side navigation pane, click VPN customer gateway, click the region, and then click Create Customer Gateway. Name, enter a customer gateway name. IP address, enter the public IP address of the VPN gateway. Take note, you have to get the public IP address of the VPN gateway. Configure the VPN gateway region, set the name, select VPC, bandwidth specification, and tunnel mode supported. Name, enter a customer gateway name. IP address, enter the public IP address of the VPN gateway. 3. VPN IPsec connection. Log on to VPC console. In the left-hand side navigation pane, click VPN, select IPsec connection. Click the region and then click Create IPsec connection. VPN IPsec connection. Configure the VPN gateway region, set the name, select VPC, bandwidth specification, and tunnel mode supported. Name, enter a name of the IPsec connection. Give it a meaningful name. VPN gateway, select the created VPN gateway from the pull-down menu. You can click onto the triangle pull-down menu, you can select your VPN gateway. Same thing for customer gateway, select the created customer gateway. Local network, enter the local VPC network / netmask. For remote network, enter the remote IDC network / netmask. Step 4. Configure the local gateway. So in the left side navigation pane, click VPN, select IPsec connection, click the region and find the target IPsec connection. Click download config to copy the IPsec connection configuration. Okay, you download the IPsec configuration and then use the configuration file to configure the local gateway IDC accordingly. Okay, the remote subnet and the local subnet in the downloaded configuration file are the opposite of the local network and the remote network when creating an IPsec connections. Same thing from the perspective of VPN gateway, the remote network is the local IDC and the local network is the VPC. From the perspective of IDC, the remote network is the VPC and the local network is the local IDC. So you have to reverse the local and remote accordingly. You just need to get the logic right. Yeah. Step 5. VPN routing table update. Log on to VPC console in the left side navigation panel. Click Route Tables. Click the region, find the route table of the connected VPC and click Add Route Entry. You need to update the route entry for both VPC, VPN gateway side, as well as the IDC VPN gateway side. So example, configure routing table update. In the destination CIDR block, enter the network and netmask of the remote VPC. Next hop back, select VPN gateway from the pull-down menu. From the pull-down menu, select VPN gateway. So take note, you have to repeat this step to create another route entry for remote IDC. Finally, you can verify the connection. So check the VPC VPN gateway and the local IDC VPN gateway status are normal, and then you can ping the private IP address to check whether the connection is established. For example, you can log into ECS on local VPC subnet to do a simple ping connectivity check to another ECS on remote VPC subnet, which is the remote IDC subnet. Okay, the ping statistic should show 0% packet loss. More information regarding VPN gateway. VPN gateway you can actually connect to device as well, including PC, notebook, laptop, as well as mobile device, using SSL VPN tunneling. So VPN gateway can create SSL VPN connection over the SSL protocol, secure socket layer. You can create SSL VPN connection to connect to a remote client to application deployed in the VPC. VPN gateway support creating multiple IPsec connection to connect multiple sites to a VPC. With the VPN hub function provided by VPN gateway, each site not only communicates with the VPC but can also communicate with each other. National intranet connections. Multinational enterprise can use Express Connect to connect two VPCs with low latency and use VPN gateway to connect local sites at lower cost to build secure and reliable intranet connections. Lesson learned. In summary, now you are able to describe various ways of interconnecting VPC, describe Express Connect and how it works, deploy VPC to VPC connection using Express Connect, deploy VPC to IDC connection using Express Connect, describe VPN gateway and how it works, deploy VPC to VPC connection using VPN gateway, deploy VPC to IDC connection using VPN gateway. For more reference, you can always refer to our online documentations.